And we welcome you back to this special edition of the Steve Malzberg. Full confession here, I am not Steve Malzberg. Steve is joining us right now from his home in New Jersey via Skype technology, a wonderful thing. A lot of folks stuck in their homes because of this weather. Steve is one of them. At least he's being safe, not leaving his house right now. We'll get to him in just a second. But we also want to get to you. And right now, if you look up on your screen, you can see the number. You can call in. We're talking about a lot of things today. We're talking about the Iowa Freedom Summit. We're talking about Bo Bergdahl. We're talking about Obama and his energy policies. And that is President Obama, I should clarify. We're going to continue our conversation. We have another caller who's joining us right now, Steve D., who is calling in from Tennessee. He wants to talk about Bo Bergdahl. Steve D., go ahead, and then Steve M. is going to respond to your question.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Steve. What can we do for you?
Talk about Bergendahl. As a former airborne ranger, I had at my
I'm sorry, Stephen. Did we lose you?
Hey, how are you guys doing today?
All right, Steve, you're on with us. We appreciate you calling in. I love your first name, and my middle initial is D. So we kind of got something to go with here.
I was a
Army
Steve, Ranger, and I had a nephew go to Afghanistan, and it's been a year over there in an outpost.
Yes, sir.
Well, Steve, I think we'll have to try to get back with Steve D. Having a little trouble with the connection there. And we do want to thank him for his service, especially any Army Airborne Rangers. They're out there on the front lines more than most. Now we're going to get to Niles, who is calling in. Our next caller, Niles. Niles,
yes.
We were talking about Bo Bergdahl. What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about Romney.
All right, go ahead.
I'll be real quick and brief. Why in the world would we even consider in the Republican Party for running him a third time when he failed miserably? And if he would have stood up to Obama, we wouldn't be in all the mess we're in right now.
I think that's a lot of people are feeling that way. Steve, what's your take?
I mean, I think that's a very good question. Look, I think Mitt Romney could have absolutely fought back, could have absolutely won that election. He thought he was going to win the election up until the day of the election, and the people that needed to come out did not come out. And that's in part because he never fought back on Benghazi. He never fought back against Candy Crowley. He let the media portray him as a gaffe master. He didn't fight back on the binder full of women. He just let the media control the narrative, and that's not going to cut it. And it's only going to be more of the same. He's already talking about, poverty and all that, but is he the right person to start all of a sudden now talking about a war on poverty? I just think it's a mistake. He should coalesce around a candidate of his choice, or wait till the nominee comes out and help on that level. I just don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, Steve, I wonder what was really is driving Romney to at least invite this type of speculation that's coming his way. It's either probably regret because of all those things you mentioned that he did not do out on the campaign trail, but it also should partly be a genuine want to help this country out. And I don't know if that's getting across right now in his comments.
I mean, I guess, John, if you or I ran for president, forget the first time. If you went through the whole campaign and you thought you were going to win on the day of the election, I guess you figure, oh man, if I only did this differently. And look, I got to say this, although I don't put much stock in the polls at this point. Look what the polls show. Right. Romney at or near the top amongst the Republican field. That's partly due to name recognition, but still in all, they're not rejecting him in these early polls.
Yeah, and maybe it's, again, a desire, something we talked about with some of these candidates who know maybe at the end of the day they don't really have a legitimate shot, especially with Romney and so many folks telling him not to do it. They do want to have an impact on the conversation. Let's go ahead and get to our next caller who's going to impact our conversation. Go ahead.
Can I say who I would like to see run?
Sure.
I would like to see Mike Huckabee and Alan West.
Mike Huckabee and Alan West. Interesting ticket. Thank you for your call. Our next caller, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, you're on. Hello, what's your name?
Ed?
Okay, Ed, what can we do for you, sir?
One thing I want to say right away, you and Berlin are two of the greatest guys on TV. I used to watch Fox News all the time, but now you're taking all my time. I love you guys.
Thank you.
You do a hell of a job.
Thank you.
The one thing I would like to see, if you could, get Benjamin Netanyahu on your program. Can you do that?
We're working on it. It's a tough get, but we're working on it. We happen to have some greatest guest bookers in the country working here, so we'll do it sooner or later.
Yeah,
that's great. The other guy you might consider, I don't know if you ever had him on, is Mark Levin.
Well, Mark and I know Mark for many, many, many years. We'll see what we could do about that.
Okay. And my last point is the guy from Wisconsin. He's the guy who should be president.
Well, which guy from Wisconsin? Because there are a couple of others. There's Paul Ryan and Scott Walker.
Governor Walker.
Okay. All right. Thank you for clarifying. All right. Our next caller is Ryan. Ryan, go ahead. Bryant.
Hey,
I apologize.
This is Frank.
Frank, go ahead, sir.
Frank, Bryant.
Hey,
Ryan.
how you doing? Just a quick note. What we got to remember, we got to do is beat Hillary Clinton, and I think there's one man that can do it, and that's Dr. Ben Carson. I don't think anybody else will come close. They're all nice people, but they're just not going to beat Hillary Clinton.
Steve, I want to ask you about that kind of because, not just with Hillary Clinton, and obviously there's the Clinton machine there, that if there were a general election matchup between Ben Carson, the guy on the screen here who's done numerous interviews with Newsmax and I think has impressed you and me, Steve, when we've done these interviews, there's the Clinton machine that would be going up against Ben Carson. But we also heard some reports, and J.D. Hayworth was talking about this, that apparently Jeb Bush is going to give a heads up to the Clinton family if he doesn't decide to enter the race. But don't you feel like there are other political machines on the Republican side that would take dead aim at Ben Carson once he does officially enter the race?
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think that not publicly, I don't think anybody's going to attack Ben Carson for a number of reasons. I don't think it will get ugly with Ben Carson because, quite frankly, I mean, I don't see he doesn't have a political past. He doesn't have a political record. And what he's accomplished in his life, certainly, and his whole life story. It's not only that he was a neurosurgeon who was the first to separate conjoined twins from the head, but his story, how his mother made, he was failing in school, and his mother made them write book reports every week, and that's what got him on the right track. I mean, it's just a great story. So I don't know about Republicans attacking him. I just worry, since foreign policy is going to be such a big part of the 2016 campaign, I believe. I worry about his lack of experience in that area.
Steve, great points. We've got to go. We've got another Newsmax Now update coming up, but we'll be back right after this.